Soft orchestral music plays. Faint church bells echo in the distance. Some moments are more than just celebrations. They're memories wrapped in love and loss. At Downton Abbey, beneath its grand walls and endless traditions, a small baby brings hope to hearts that have long forgotten how to smile. Today isn't just another day in the Crawley family. It's the day the house breathes again. It's the christening of Baby Sybil, a child born from love that dared to cross every line. Visuals fade in. A golden sunrise spills across the vast lawns of Downton Abbey. The estate stands still, silent yet alive with unseen emotion. The morning sun glows gently over the rooftops of Downton Abbey, painting the sky with soft shades of gold and rose. The great house looks peaceful, but inside, it hums with quiet movement. Footmen hurry through polished halls. Maids whisper to one another, carrying trays of silver and crystal. There is a sense of purpose in every step, a sense that today is special. In the drawing room, Lady Cora adjusts the fresh white flowers placed by the fireplace. Her eyes glisten softly as she glances at the photograph on the table. Her daughter, Lady Sybil, smiling, radiant, gone far too soon. She takes a deep breath, steadying her heart. This day is for Sybil's child, her legacy. Downstairs, Mrs. Hughes checks the last of the linens, while Carson, ever the perfectionist, ensures that every glass sparkles. Even the servants, who've seen countless family events, move with a gentler grace today. For them too, this christening feels different, like honoring someone they all loved. Outside, the grand gates open, and a sleek black motor car rolls in. The family's guests have begun to arrive. Laughter and polite greetings fill the air as familiar faces step out, their expressions carrying both warmth and a touch of sorrow. And there, standing a little apart, is Tom Branson, once the family's chauffeur, now a widower and father. He watches as the house prepares itself for the christening of his daughter, Baby Sybil. In his arms, the child coos softly, her small hands reaching for the morning light. In her eyes, he sees everything he lost, and everything worth living for. The church bells begin to chime in the distance, a gentle, sacred sound that floats across the fields. The air feels heavy with memory, yet alive with hope. As the abbey stands under the rising sun, a sense of peace settles over it. Today, grief and grace will share the same roof, and a baby's smile will remind everyone that love, no matter how tragic, never truly dies. Soft piano fades in. The screen drifts through old photographs. Lady Sybil's bright smile, Tom's nervous eyes, a wedding kiss beneath church arches. The colors shift gently between sepia and soft light. Before this day of joy, there was heartbreak, the kind that forever changes the air inside a home. Lady Sybil Crawley, the youngest daughter of Lord and Lady Grantham, had always been different. Where others saw rank, she saw people. Where others followed rules, she followed her heart. It was that same heart that led her to Tom Branson, the family's Irish chauffeur. Their love began quietly, hidden in passing glances and stolen moments between duties. For Sybil, it wasn't rebellion. It was truth. She saw a world beyond class and titles. A world where love wasn't measured by blood or wealth, but by courage. When she chose Tom, Downton trembled. To her family, it was a shock. A daughter of nobility running off with a man from the servants' hall. To Sybil, it was freedom. Together, they built a small life filled with laughter, books, and dreams, away from the whispers of disapproval. But happiness in Downton's world never stays untested. When war broke out, Sybil served as a nurse, proving her strength not just in love, but in purpose. Tom stood beside her, proud and devoted, even when the world called him an outsider. Their bond grew deeper, stronger, unshaken by society's judgment. They weren't just two lovers. They were a quiet revolution in human form. But fate, cruel and untimely, struck just as new life entered the world. Sybil's death during childbirth broke more than hearts. It shattered the illusion that Downton was untouched by tragedy. Her laughter was gone, yet her presence never faded. Every corridor, every room still seemed to whisper her name. Now, the baby she left behind, Baby Sybil, carries that same light, the same spark of defiance and compassion. As Tom looks at his daughter, he doesn't just see Sybil's face, he feels her heartbeat in every breath the child takes. Today's christening isn't just a ceremony, it's a bridge between what was lost and what remains, between the old world that resisted change and the new one Sybil began to build with love. In this tiny child lies the memory of a woman who dared to love beyond rules, and the promise that her spirit will never fade from Downton's story. Soft choir hums in the background. The camera glides through Downton's grand corridors. Silver polished, candles lit. Sunlight touching lace curtains. The air feels sacred. The morning unfolds like a page from an old book. Calm, careful, filled with the weight of memory. Downton Abbey, usually a house of order and control, feels softer today. Every corner carries a sense of anticipation. Even the walls seem to breathe differently. Slower, gentler, as if the house itself remembers. Outside, the sky is a gentle blue, brushed with clouds that drift lazily over the estate. The gardens bloom quietly, untouched by the noise of the world. On the gravel path, carriages roll in, wheels crunching softly against stone. Guests step out, their voices low, their clothes immaculate, their expressions somewhere between joy and respect. In the nursery upstairs, Tom Branson stands by the window holding his daughter. Baby Sybil is dressed in a delicate gown, pure white, edged with soft lace, the same gown her mother once wore. Her tiny fingers curl around his thumb, her eyes wide with wonder. For a moment, Tom forgets everything else, the class divisions, the whispers, the loss. In her smallness, he finds strength. In her stillness, he feels peace. Downstairs, Lady Cora gives quiet instructions, ensuring everything is perfect. Lady Mary adjusts her hat before the mirror, her reflection calm but her eyes distant, perhaps thinking of her sister, perhaps envying the courage she once had. Edith stands beside her, holding a small bouquet, her expression tender and thoughtful. For all their differences, today they share something rare, unity born from shared loss. In the main hall, the servants line up, watching as the family prepares to leave for the church. Mr. Carson stands tall, his eyes proud, his heart heavy. Mrs. Hughes glances toward Tom, and for just a moment her stern face softens. Even downstairs, where duty often silences emotion, there's a sense of love, quiet, unspoken, but real. The church bells begin to ring, their sound floating across the countryside. As the family steps outside, a soft wind carries the scent of roses and earth. The abbey watches them go, its grand doors closing slowly behind them, as if bowing to the occasion. The carriages roll toward the village church, sunlight flickering through the trees. Inside one, Tom gazes at his daughter. "Your mother would have loved this day," he whispers softly. The baby coos in reply, unaware of the tears that glisten in her father's eyes. And somewhere, in the heart of the house, or perhaps only in memory, Lady Sybil's spirit lingers, not as a ghost, but as a feeling, a warmth in the air, a whisper in the wind. The family may not see her, but they all feel her. She is here, in every heartbeat, every smile, every tear shed in love and remembrance. Soft church organ hums. Light filters through stained glass, scattering colors across polished pews. The Crawley family takes their places, the world watching, yet every soul lost in its own silence. Inside the church, time feels slower. The air carries the scent of old wood and lilies, the kind of silence that feels alive. The family moves carefully, each step echoing with history and unspoken emotion. Though they are together, each carries their own story. A memory, a regret, a longing. Lord Grantham stands near the front pew, his posture proud but his eyes heavy. For a man who once built his life around tradition, the moment feels like both a loss and a lesson. He watches Tom Branson, once his chauffeur, holding the child of his beloved daughter. A quiet ache runs through him. Pride battles with pain. He remembers the nights he argued against their marriage, the fear of scandal, the stubborn pride of a father who could not understand. Yet today, as he sees the baby in her gown, he realizes love had won, even if it came at a price too high. Lady Cora sits beside him, her hands clasped tightly around her prayer book. Tears shimmer in her eyes, unhidden. She doesn't blink them away. She lets them fall. For Cora, this isn't just her granddaughter's christening. It's a reunion of spirit, a day where she can almost feel her daughter near. The music, the candlelight, the warmth of the crowd, all of it wraps around her like an embrace she's longed for since the day Sybil was lost. At the opposite end of the pew, Lady Mary sits still, her gaze fixed on the altar. She has learned to hide her feelings well, but inside, something cracks open. The sight of Tom cradling his child makes her chest tighten. A mix of admiration and sorrow. Mary was always the strong one, but strength doesn't protect you from missing someone. She misses her sister more than she ever admitted. Maybe love doesn't need to be understood. Maybe it just needs to be felt, as Sybil once said. Lady Edith, ever the observer, holds a soft smile. She looks at the baby and in her sees not just Sybil, but possibility. The child represents everything Edith has yearned for: love, family. Then there's Tom, standing quietly, holding his daughter as if she were made of light. The priest's words fade into the background as he stares at her tiny face. He feels Sybil everywhere, in the warmth of the sunlight through the window, in the stillness of the air, in the calm that fills his chest despite the ache. This day is supposed to bless his child. But Tom feels as though he is the one being blessed. To have loved her, to carry her spirit forward. When the priest pours the water, a soft gasp ripples through the crowd. The baby stirs, then settles. For a brief moment, every heart beats as one. It's as if the entire church exhales together. Grief and grace blending like light through glass. And in that fragile silence, something changes. Downton's story, once bound by class and decorum, opens to something truer, something simpler. Love, loss, hope, all standing side by side beneath the same roof. As the choir begins to sing, each face glows with emotion. Not the grand kind, but the quiet kind that lives deep inside. The kind that says, we remember, we forgive, we continue. In that sacred moment, when the holy water touches baby Sybil's forehead, something far greater than a ritual takes place. It's as if time folds, the past and present meeting in a single heartbeat. The water glimmers in the sunlight, and for a second, it's not just water. It's memory, it's forgiveness, it's love reborn. Around the church, the light dances, gold, soft, alive. It spills over marble and wood, painting the family in warmth. Every candle flicker feels like a whisper from the past. Maybe it's Sybil herself, reaching out through the quiet, blessing her child in her own way. For those who believe in heaven, perhaps it's a sign. For those who don't, it's still enough to make them believe in something again, even if only for today. The christening gown, handed down through generations, tells its own story. Once worn by Sybil as an infant, it now wraps her daughter in the same fabric of legacy and love. Each stitch carries years of history. Every thread a connection between mother and child, between loss and hope. It's not just lace and silk, it's a memory reborn in fabric, a circle completed. And then there's the church itself. Ancient stone walls standing firm, as if they too are guardians of family secrets. These walls have heard laughter, vows, confessions, and tears. Today they hold silence, not the silence of emptiness, but of awe. For once, this house of God sees not rank or class, not servant or master, but family, united by grief, healed by grace. The sound of the choir rises. Their voices blend like a prayer too deep for words. To the ears, it's music. To the heart, it's something else entirely. A bridge between what is seen and what is felt. Even those who rarely pray find themselves closing their eyes, letting the sound fill the spaces that words cannot reach. As the final hymn begins, Tom lowers his head, whispering something only he and his daughter can hear. The camera lingers on his face. The strength of a father, the ache of a widower, the peace of a man learning to hope again. The baby's hand rests on his cheek, and in that small gesture lies the message of the entire day, that love, even after death, never truly leaves us. It simply changes shape. The christening isn't just about faith in God. It's about faith in life, in resilience, in forgiveness, in the quiet beauty of carrying on. The Crawleys and the Bransons, divided by class, now sit under the same light. What once divided them now binds them. The child, born from love the world once disapproved of, becomes the thread that sews two worlds together. When the final Amen fills the air, the light through the window flares, pure, golden, endless. And in that glow, Downton Abbey seems different, softer. For the first time in a long time, it feels not like a house of power, but a home of love. As the ceremony ends, the family steps out of the church, blinking against the sudden brightness. The chill of the morning has lifted, replaced by the gentle warmth of the afternoon sun. Outside, everything seems lighter. The air, the faces, even the sky. It's as though the world itself has been quietly transformed. Tom walks slowly down the stone steps, his daughter cradled close. Around him, the family gathers, not as nobles and servants, but as people bound by love. Lord Grantham offers a faint smile, one that carries both apology and pride. It's small, but in the world of Downton, small gestures mean everything. Cora touches Tom's arm as they reach the carriage. A mother's silent promise that Sybil's child will never lack love or family. The baby gurgles softly, her laughter spilling into the quiet like music. The sound pulls smiles from faces that haven't smiled in far too long. Even Carson, standing a respectful distance away, allows himself the faintest curl of a grin. In that laughter lies something sacred. Not just innocence, but the proof that life continues. That joy still belongs here. The carriages begin to move, wheels crunching over gravel. The Abbey comes into view once more, its stone walls tall and timeless, yet somehow gentler now, as if softened by memory. The windows catch the light, reflecting it like mirrors of the soul. Inside those walls, generations have lived, loved, and lost. And now, they are learning to heal. In the carriage, Tom holds the baby close, whispering softly. "You're home, little one," he murmurs, his voice steady but tender. He looks out the window toward the horizon, the rolling hills, the whispering trees. And for the first time in a long time, the future doesn't look lonely. It looks open. Behind him, Lady Mary watches the estate grow closer. She glances at her father, her mother, her sister's child, and something within her softens. For years, she fought to protect tradition. Now she begins to understand that tradition without love is just emptiness dressed in fine clothes. Love, even the kind that defies expectation, is what gives Downton life. The carriages stop at the grand doors of the Abbey. The family steps out into the courtyard, the baby's gown shimmering in the light. The air hums with something unspoken, not celebration, not sorrow, but peace. For the first time since Sybil's passing, it feels like balance has returned. The circle is complete. Inside, the great clock ticks steadily, marking another hour in the long history of the house. Yet today, time feels different, softer, kinder. As the family disappears through the great doors, the camera lingers on the sunlight resting on the steps. Warm, golden, endless, Downton Abbey stands still, its shadows eased by light. The laughter of a baby echoes faintly within its halls, a sound that carries through the generations. And though Sybil is gone, her presence lingers in every heartbeat of this home, because some loves, no matter how brief, leave marks that never fade. Evening settles over Downton, wrapping the estate in soft gold. The air feels still, like the world has paused just long enough to breathe. Inside, laughter echoes faintly. The baby's cry, followed by a hush of comfort. Life continues in small, tender ways. The house that once held only grief now holds something gentler, healing. The family gathers for tea, voices low, eyes softer. The space between them feels smaller, warmer. For once, Downton is not a stage for class or conflict, but a home, imperfect, fragile, and beautifully human. Upstairs, Tom stands by the window of the nursery, watching the last rays of daylight touch the fields beyond. He hums softly, a tune he used to sing to Sybil when nights were long and uncertain. The melody floats in the quiet, becoming part of the house itself, a lullaby of love and memory. On the table beside him lies a photograph, Sybil, smiling as she once did, free and full of light. Tom looks at it and smiles back, not with pain but with gratitude. He no longer sees her as lost. He sees her in their daughter's laughter, in her courage to exist in a world that once tried to keep love in cages. Baby Sybil is proof that hearts don't end when people do. They continue, beating in those left behind. Downstairs, Lord Grantham closes his book and looks toward the nursery. He doesn't speak, but his expression says what words never could. She was right. Love is not weakness. It's the only thing that lasts. Cora's hand rests over his, and for the first time, he lets himself feel the full weight and beauty of what his daughter left behind. The camera drifts through the halls, past portraits, chandeliers, and staircases, all witnesses to years of laughter and tears. And then finally it lingers on the crib. The baby sleeps peacefully, light flickering across her face. The music swells, gentle, hopeful, endless. A whisper fills the silence. Sleep well, my darling. You are loved. Whether it's memory or miracle, no one can say. But somehow, it feels real, as if Lady Sybil herself has spoken through the air, her voice carried on the very breath of the house. Outside, the last of the sunlight fades beyond the hills. The abbey stands tall, shadow and light entwined. Life moves forward, as it always does, yet forever changed. The story that began with defiance ends with grace. For Sybil's love, brave, reckless, true, didn't vanish with her. It took root in her daughter, her family, her home. And long after the world forgets titles and names, that love will remain, whispering through Downton's halls. Love endures, always.